Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited about today's video, and I know my shirt says love yourself. And I mean, the topic's kind of around that, I guess. Like, everything relates back to self-love and appreciating who you really are and stepping into your true power and that loving nature. But the video is about our addictions, and I really want to reframe what our addictions are, because a lot of people feel like they don't have any addictions, because addictions are like people who are in mental institutes and who have alcohol problems and drug problems. And yes, that's a realm of it, but there are so many other types of addictions, and we can look at those addictions and we can help ourselves work through them. And also just like understanding that the people who are going through addictions, like, we're all going through that, and we don't need to be judging people who have more severe addictions than we do, right? And I'll kind of go into how all addictions like stem from the same exact thing, and they're just levels of it, and it's just what you use as an addiction. So first of all, reframing what an addiction is. So an addiction is really just a distraction. So whatever somebody does to distract themselves is an addiction. So an addiction can be alcohol, it can be drugs, it can be gambling, because those are all things done to distract that person. And it's distracting the person from what is going on internally. So what is going on in their life internally that they do not want to feel? They go to drink alcohol, they go to do other things, right? That is distracting you from how you're feeling internally. But I want to get to more of like the everyday sort of things that you may be experiencing. There are so many different types of distractions. One of the biggest distractions right now is our cell phone, right? And TV and our computer. These things, of course, can be used for the benefit of us. They can be used to be inspired, to be creative, to share who we are, to express ourselves, to share awareness. But they can also be used as a distraction. So you are the only one who can decide what you're doing, right? Are you using social media as a distraction, or are you using social media or your phone to be helping people and spreading awareness and all of these other things? In that moment, you get to decide, right? What are you doing? No one else can tell you. No one else really knows. It could look like it's the same behavior, but it's your internal drive behind it. A lot of people, you know, when you get in an elevator, what does everybody do? Everybody goes on their phone, because internally they feel super awkward and they don't know how to feel what's going on, right? They don't know how to process what's going on in themselves, so they turn to another source to distract themselves, so they go on their phone. That's a little example of how we use our phone every single day to distract ourselves. And that distraction turns into an addictive pattern. So every time you go in the elevator, you look at your phone, right? Every time you get home from work, you turn your TV on to distract you. So addictions start by distractions, and they become repetitive behaviors, and then they turn into a form of addiction, right? And we feel like we absolutely cannot live without it. It really started with you trying to distract yourself. So I want you to start to think of the ways that you distract yourself. What do you do in your life that distracts you from whatever is going on internally, or whatever is going on in your environment? One of the things I know I do is I go on Instagram and I scroll, and I've learned over time I do this because I'm distracting myself for what's going on. And I can go into those specific reasons why I'm distracting myself, right? Like, what is this actual feeling? And identifying the feeling and working through the feeling. Because if I don't do that, this is another really important thing. If you don't actually fix what's going on internally, you're going to use a different type of distraction. So I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and we were in a coaching session, and she's like, I kind of want to just get rid of my television, like get rid of my subscription, right? And I'm like, that's awesome that you want to do that, but if you don't heal what's going on internally that's driving you to watch TV, you're going to find another addiction when you get rid of your television. You're going to get addicted to your computer. You're going to get addicted to something else that will distract you from that feeling because you haven't healed that feeling inside. So yes, we want to eliminate our distractions, but we don't want to eliminate our distractions by quitting it cold turkey without internally healing, internally being aware of what's going on, healing that, and then naturally we will not be driven to that distraction. So I have found if I wake up every morning and I go to a place of meditation, of calmness, of serenity, of whatever feels good to me, I don't have the drive to go on Instagram and scroll. Deleting Instagram and not scrolling does not mean I'm going to wake up in the morning and return to a peaceful place. I could wake up in the morning and I could automatically do something else that's distracting me. So don't just think that by deleting it, by cutting it cold turkey, it's going to be out of your life. It's not. The form of your distraction is not that important, guys. It's really not that important. The people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, the form does not matter. It's the severity of how you're using it as a distraction. And I'm not saying this to scare you and say, like, if you're on social media all the time, you have an addiction and you're in trouble, right? I'm saying the form does not matter, guys. We as a society think the form matters so much, right? Being addicted to money and using money as a distraction is as big of a internal wound that needs to be healed as using drugs and alcohol and sex, right? It does not matter what the form is. It could be your cell phone, it could be sugar, right? The form doesn't matter, guys. So start to identify more with when you do it, how much you do it, and why you do it. And you can get comfortable, you can get aware of all of these things, and then you can start to heal them. So right now, write down a few things that you feel like you use as distractions. Start to become aware of what you use as a distraction. And I'm going to talk about a few more other things that people use. So I talked about the physical realm. I talked about TV. I talked about gambling, money. Work is another huge thing that people use as a distraction. Of course, there are people out there that love their jobs, that work 40 hours a week, that work 50 hours a week, and they're thrilled by their job, they're fulfilled, they're being creative, stepping in their power. But there's also people out there that use work as a distraction. They don't come home to their family because maybe their family doesn't feel good, so they stay at work for hours and hours and hours. They're using that as a distraction. They're using that as an outlet to get out of that bad feeling situation, of an outlet to get away from whatever feels bad that's going on internally. So work is another huge one for our society right now. And then I want to go into, so we have the physical, and then we also have the projection of other people and other groups. So a lot of people project that there is a problem outside in another group or another person, and that is what they use as a distraction. Whether it is a political person, whether it is a sorority that is like, you use that as a distraction, as a group of, or just a singular person to distract yourself. Maybe it's a team, right? Like, oh my God, I hate the Yankees so much, right? You use that team as a distraction from yourself. You use whatever it is to get away from that feeling. And we gotta stop doing that, guys. We think that we need to like be so tuned in with what other groups are doing, what other people are doing, because if not, like, we're gonna be lost in the world and we're gonna have no idea what's going on and we're not gonna be relevant anymore, right? We do not need to keep up with what every single other person is doing, what every other group is doing. We are going to be fine. We don't have to use it as a distraction to talk shit about another group, to talk shit about another person, to distract ourselves from our own pain. And this is such a big, huge topic right now. So many people are shitting on other people for what they're doing. Yes, maybe those people aren't doing things that are rooted in love. That's fine, right? That's true. Some people are not doing things that are rooted in love. But if you're letting another person who is not rooted in love distract you from your true essence, from your life, you are getting taken away from your love, right? You are getting taken away from the purpose of you being on this earth, from your true essence, to be peaceful, to be loved, to be support, to be creative, all of those things. If you're talking badly about another person, if you're using another person to distract you, you're not benefiting anybody, including yourself and including that other person. So identify that. Are you someone who quickly jumps to talking negatively about another person? And if you do that, you're distracting yourself. You're shying away from something that's going on internally with you that person is triggering for you. And that's something you need to look at. Instead of looking at that other person as the bad person, as the enemy, as let's target that person over there, you got to look at yourself. Yes, identify that person may be doing something that you don't like. That's fine. But why is that triggering you? Why do you need to use that as a distraction right now? What's going on internally? So we have physical, TV, work, all that stuff. We have other groups outside of us, other people. And then the last one that I want to talk about is our thoughts. Our thoughts are a huge, huge, huge distraction. We make up so many repetitive thoughts that keep us away from what's going on internally. We make up future fantasies, future plans, all of this stuff, which is great. Visualization is so great, but visualization is different than fantasizing with the intention of distraction. They're very different things. You step into a 10-20 minute visualization in the morning, you visualize what you want in your day, in your life, whatever it may be, very, very intentional. Or you can go into a place of like dreaming and fantasizing, and you do that because you want to get away from the moment, right? You want to get away from what's going on in your life right now. You want to get away from your current relationship, your current job. First, you got to identify what's going on inside of you. Then you go to a visualization sort of place. Don't just go straight to a fantasizing place, because there's no intention behind that. There's no energy. There's no way that reality can get manifested unless the intention and the awareness is behind it. They're very, very different things. And often I can even admit that I go to places where I'm just fantasizing about this realm or this vacation or like all this stuff. And the reason, if you really, really connect with the reason why you're doing it, you're distracting yourself. You're trying to get away from something that's going on internally right now that does not feel good to you. So that is the last way. And all of the reason why we do this is because guys, we don't know how to handle our physical internal emotions right now. A lot of us, most of us, like the biggest majority, never was taught how to deal with your emotions. And I'm going to go into that in another video more, but for the sake of this video, what I want to talk about is the process of when a distraction comes up, how you can handle it. So say your distraction is social media. This is what I do a lot in my own scenario. So I don't feel good. I want to go on social media. So I know that, first of all, I've identified that I use social media as a distraction. So when I have that urge to go on social media, first I identify, why do I want to go on social media? If it's because I want to go on social media because I want to post something, I want to engage, I want to share something, that's great. And I go on social media and I post it, right? But if it's because I've identified I want to go on social media because I'm bored, because nothing's going on right now in my life, I don't have anything where to be, I don't have anyone to talk to, I'm bored, then I sit with it I say, Rose, you're doing this because you're bored, because you want to fulfill something that's going on right now. How can you cultivate? First of all, how can you breathe through it and not take the action, right? How can you breathe through it and not react in a way that's going to build the momentum of this habit, of this distraction even more? What we want to do is we want to take away from that momentum being built. We want to take away from that addictive behavior. And we do that by not engaging in it. We do that by sitting back. We do that by being aware of what's going on and just breathing through it. Yeah, sometimes that stuff's gonna be like really painful that comes up. Maybe there'll be loneliness that comes up, boredom, anxiety, depression, all of these things, they will come up. But to get through them, they have to come up, guys. They have to come up, or we'll just use another distraction, right? So what I do is I breathe through it. I say, okay, I'm feeling really bored right now. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling energized. I'm feeling this lack of confidence. I'm not gonna go on social media and distract myself more. I'm gonna breathe through it. I close my eyes maybe, and I find something else to do that feels good, that is not an addictive behavior. I'll go meditate. I'll go journal. I'll do something that can relieve the true feeling that's going on inside of me, whatever it is, instead of gaining that momentum of that energy. Because when we go on social media, when we do whatever that addictive behavior is, it covers up the wound for a minute or 5 minutes or an hour or a day. It covers it up with a distraction, right? But it's really not healing what's going on deep inside, which is that feeling that needs to be expressed, that needs to be healed, that needs to be let out. Let it come up, identify it, breathe through it, do something else that lets that emotion get out, that lets that energy go, and then it will veer, right? That it will leave, that desire for that addiction will leave in that moment, and I won't feel like I need to go on social media anymore. I will be fulfilled in a different way, in a healthy way. And then the next time that comes up for me, that I want to distract myself, a few things will happen. First of all, I'll more easily be able to not return to it. I'll more easily be able to go to my meditation, go to my good feeling place. Whatever it is, go for a walk, right? If it's like sugar, you'll be able to pick something that actually feels good, that's a little healthier for you, that's not an addiction for you. It will be easier to pick the other option, first of all. The second thing is, it won't come up and last as long. Like that bad feeling inside of you of whatever it is, it won't last as long, and you'll be able to handle it in a way that feels better to you. The third thing is, it won't come up as often. It will start to fade away. You will start to be in an energy, in a vibration where you don't need these addictions to distract you, because you're feeling fulfilled, because you're feeling good inside, because that feeling of loneliness or depression, you've worked through it. It's faded away and it's no longer in your energy. So you don't even reach for the addiction. You don't even reach for the sugar, for the television, for social media, whatever it is, because you are good, you're feeling fulfilled. All of these things will start to happen. All of these things will start to happen so fast, guys. The first time, the second time, those are the hardest times to say no to your addiction, to your distraction. It's so hard those times, and I know it is, but you just have to breathe, and you have to allow yourself to go through that painful time. You have to allow yourself for that energy to come up. That's the only way that the energy can leave, is if the energy comes up. I really hope this was super helpful for you guys, and I know you guys can do it. I know you guys can get rid of these things, and once you get rid of these distractions, you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel so alive. You're going to feel like you've always wanted to feel. You don't have to be living in a place where you're going from one addiction, from work, to coming home, to going into TV, to going to food. You don't have to live like that, guys. You have to do the work, though. You have to understand why these things are coming up and work through them so they can be released and so they are not part of your habitual processing anymore. We so quickly can rewrite our habits. It does not take long at all. It really honestly doesn't take that much effort, guys. I know that sounds super hard to hear if you're in the middle of it, but it's a struggle for a little bit. It's pain for a little bit. It's all of that stuff. It has to come up. It has to get out. And then before you know it, it'll be gone. It'll be out. You'll be like, wow, I can't believe I was ever addicted to social media. I can't believe I had a time in my life where I was doing that habit. I have no craving for that anymore at all. And that's such an amazing, great thing. And it will feel so good to you. You'll open yourself up to so many other things that you can do with your time, with your energy, and you will create and feel so much better. I really hope this helped you guys. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or what you're going through right now. Remember, society has formed this belief that addictions are these awful, bad things, guys, and they're really not. It's really a defense mechanism for us to distract ourselves from that deep internal pain. It's really a defense mechanism for us to distract ourselves from what's going on. It's okay, it's natural that it happens, but we have to learn how to let it go. We have to learn how to not use that defense mechanism anymore and to be able to handle what's going on inside ourselves, by ourselves, without anything else needing to be used. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please subscribe, follow me on Instagram, My Life is Roses, on here, My Life is Roses, and keep up with everything that I'm posting. Have a really blessed weekend. Bye.